Blah. Good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. My apologies, both for the tardiness of this recording and for the torch song-esque quality of my voice. I'm afraid I'm still coming out from under laryngitis. My name is Kevin Wetmore, and I am presenting So Long as the Children Are Present, There is Danger, Star Trek's Heavy Children of the 23rd Century. Let's go. Nope, we got to advance here, sorry. While the original Star Trek television series presented a future in which humans had survived the Cold War and collaborated to join with other species on the exploration of space and the sharing of knowledge and technology, children were not a part of that world. While the later Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine might have featured families on board the ship and the station respectively, and even an adolescent or two among the principal cast, the original series featured a ship with only adult Starfleet personnel. Indeed, when the crew of the Enterprise encounters children, they are a source of danger. They are entities to be contained, constrained, and returned to adults capable of raising them well and at a safe distance from the main cast. In fairness, Star Trek had a more complicated relationship with the children than I make out here. The original series often played with age, showing ancient beings appearing as children, and children who were centuries old. In the case of the former, excuse me, the Corbomite maneuver from season 1, episode 10, excuse me, the entity called Baylock first appears as a strange alien, humanoid creature threatening the Enterprise, who you see on the left here. But this is revealed at episode's end to be a mannequin used by the actual Baylock, played by 7-year-old Clint Howard, who employs the mannequin to test the species he encounters and provoke fear, which his actual form, appearing as a child, is deceptive. He is hyper-intelligent and centuries old, and immediately serves the crew alcohol, which he himself partakes in. So Star Trek has often offered beings that look like children but are actually very, very old, or beings that are very, very old but are actually children. In later iterations of Trek, childhood of truly alien species, for example, are explored in Galaxy's Child. A giant entity attaches itself to the Enterprise and begins draining its power. At first, this is interpreted as an attack and an act of aggression, until the crew realizes what they have encountered is an alien child that is nursing off of the Enterprise. They are able to reverse the polarity of the energy going out and therefore sour the milk. And then they summon others of the same species to help raise the creature. The larger issue in these episodes concerns how we understand childhood in different species and how we physically perceive the child versus the experience of the creature we're encountering. But in this presentation, I analyzed the 4 episodes of the original series that feature children qua children, exploring how each episode demonstrates how children or an individual child is a danger that must be contained or eliminated. The second episode in the series, Charlie X, features a 17-year-old with godlike powers who punishes those whom he does not like. Similarly, the Squire of Gothos, the 17th episode of the first season, features a chaotic and dangerous alien, who is revealed at episode's end to be a child of his species, his parents arriving to stop him from playing with the Enterprise crew and take him home because it's time to leave. In Miri, the 8th episode of the first season, the crew discovers a planet which humans die at puberty, but childhood lasts for 300 years. The children are distrustful and violent towards Grups. And lastly, And the Children Shall Lead from the 3rd season finds the Enterprise once again discovering a group of orphan children who, through their relationship with an alien, have threatening powers that they use on adults. From merely watching the original series of Trek, it would seem that the future is full of dangerously empowered children who represent a future that must be kept in check, especially when compared with the bright future presented by the adult United Federation of Planets. Beginning with the 2nd episode of the first season, that's the first series for those of you in the UK, Charlie X, a teenager, is brought onto the Enterprise. Charlie's actual name is Charlie Evans, played by Robert Walker Jr. He is the only survivor of a crash from 14 years before when he was 3 years old. After he was rescued by a ship at age 17, his story is that he grew up using the ship's computer to educate and feed himself until he was rescued. His isolation made him both awkward and curious. From the moment he beams onto the ship, he is fascinated by his discoveries, and his isolation emphasizes that he is an awkward teen, or as we call them now, a teen. "Are you a girl? Is that a girl?" he asks upon first seeing a woman. I'm trying to make people like me," he tells said girl, actually Yeoman Janice Rand, a series regular in the first season. Kirk asks McCoy to teach Charlie about humanity, including social interaction with the opposite sex, referring to Charlie as the boy and the adolescent. McCoy defers to Kirk, however, arguing that he is a better masculine example for the young man. Charlie, in the meantime, attempts to impress crew members, especially the female ones, with seeming magic tricks. It is then discovered that those who anger Charlie have very bad things happen to them, including the destruction of the ship and crew that originally rescued him, and both Janice Rand and another crewman who laughed at Charlie are sent away. Excuse me. The command crew discuss what to do with a teen who can alter reality and destroy people with his mind. Kirk says, short-tempered because he does not understand, he needs, he wants, nothing happens fast enough. Spock responds he has a total disregard for human life. Kirk, he's a boy. McCoy, well, what do we do with this boy? Jim, how do we keep him caged up? And Kirk says he's a boy in a man's body, trying to be an adult, but the adolescent keeps getting in the way. Or as we call it today, a teen. Charlie may be a boy, but he's a threat to the Enterprise and everyone on it. His own traumatic childhood, crash, dead parents, spending age 3 through 17 alone in isolation, is secondary to the fact that he has incredible powers, but the temperament of a teenager, and therefore dangerous and must be treated as such. They accurately assess his situation, condition, and psychological issues, but rather than attempting to help him or give him therapy, the crew come up with various ways to lock him up, knock him out, or otherwise incapacitate him until they can deliver him to a starbase. In other words, make the problematic teen someone else's problem. Eventually, Charlie grows so powerful the crew cannot stop him. Like a deus ex machina, however, a Thasian shows up, a being from the planet on which Charlie had originally crashed. The Thasian explains that they had given Charlie these powers to help him live alone on the planet, but he is too dangerous to be anywhere else, or among other humans. Charlie begs to stay on the Enterprise, to stay with other humans, and the boy inside the almost man clearly emerges. "I won't do it again," he plaintively tells Kirk. "I'll be good," he promises. Like a child begging not to be punished or sent away. Kirk asks the Thasian if Charlie can be taught to not use his powers or to use them wisely, if he can mature out of his childish need for payback or immediate gratification. "He will use it and he will destroy you," the Thasian concludes. Charlie is taken back to Thasia where he will live out his days as the sole human on a planet of non-corporeal beings. While the episode allows for some pathos for Mr. Evans alone, never to interact with humans again, the conclusion makes clear that this is an adolescent and a dangerous one. Charlie was truly a danger, and he would never outgrow the qualities of being a dangerous teen. Indeed, it is those very qualities that make him a danger. 6 episodes later, which is not much in an 80-episode series, the Enterprise again discovers dangerous children. The Enterprise receives an Earth-style distress signal and finds a planet identical to Earth, but seems to be abandoned and run down. A landing party beams down and learns that a strange disease swept the planet, killing off all of the adults. The children age incredibly slowly, however, living a century for every year of actual development. When they reach the end of adolescence, however, they too then rapidly age and die. Thus, the entire planet consists of children centuries old, but still behaving as children. They refer to themselves as onlys and adults as grups, a corruption of grown-up. Tangentially, I think that is a term we need to start using. In my family, I tell my children, well, the grups are going to go do something. Start using it. It's awesome. The crew then discovers that they have now been exposed to the virus and are already dying when they meet the eponymous Miri. She is a teen on the verge of womanhood, like Charlie Evans, and like Charlie Evans, she's mad crushing, in this case, on Kirk. The other children, however, are able to attack the crew guerrilla style and vanish into the ruins, stealing all of their technology and communication devices. The children do not like the grups, with Miri telling Kirk that Grups are the, quote, burning, yelling, hurting people, and the children are glad they got sick and died. Kirk, never one to listen to women or children, posits a different theory. I think children have an instinctive need for adults. They want to be told right from wrong. He holds on to this opinion until he is captured by children who seek to bash his head in with a hammer repeatedly, chanting bonk bonk right in the head. It is Yeoman Rand, seen here at the bottom, who perceives the depth of the problem and the heavy childhood of Miri and the others. Rand says children who never age, an eternal childhood filled with play and no responsibility, to which Spock responds, and puberty is a death sentence. Kirk's premise only holds if the role of the Grup is to guide the child into adulthood. If adulthood neither exists nor is a possibility, then that child is pureed, playing and not being responsible because the only fate is death when you hit puberty. It's not so much an eternal childhood as Rand claims, but a prolonged childhood with no evolution into adulthood at the end, only death and madness. As is tradition in Trek, by episode's end, McCoy has found a cure for the virus and a vaccine to prevent further infection and allow the children to grow into adulthood and prevent the crew from dying of the disease. Kirk is then able to convince the children to allow the adults to treat them. His argument to the leaders of the children, Miri and a man named John, seen here played by Michael J. Pollard, is that the children will die eventually, the leaders of the children will die eventually, and the younger onlys will not be able to take care of themselves, that the older children function as adults, and so when they die, the onlys will not have anyone. When the children agree to return to a normal lifespan in adulthood, the crew can then leave, having summoned teachers, social workers, and child psychologists, whose job will be to raise and educate the children, because the Enterprise ain't got time for any of that nonsense. They have a 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds. Children raising and child raising is not a part of that. In an interesting postscript to the episode, so disturbing is the presentation of children that following the first screening of Miri on British television in December of 1970, the BBC received so many complaints the episode was not shown again until the 21st century. Fans who wrote the BBC asking for Miri and 3 other episodes that also went unaired after their initial showing received the same form reply letter. There are no plans to screen the 4 episodes because we feel that they deal most unpleasantly with the already unpleasant subjects of madness, torture, sadism, and disease. You will appreciate that account must be taken that out of Star Trek's large and enthusiastic following, many are juveniles, who would watch the program no matter what time of day the series is put into the program's schedules. Very British response. In other words, children must be protected from this depiction of children. The BBC sides with Kirk here. The role of Grups is to teach right from wrong and to not demonstrate what happens when Grups are removed from the occasion and onlys develop a society on their own. The children might see Miri, therefore we cannot show it. A fascinating inversion occurs in the 17th episode of the first season, The Squire of Gothos. The Enterprise encounters a strange planet where no planet should be. A landing party vanishes, and the bridge crew is then spontaneously brought to the surface, where they find themselves in the manor of a country squire, Trelane, the eponymous Squire of Gothos, seen here. A foppish 18th century British aristocrat and retired general, played with scenery-chewing delight by William Campbell. He taunts the crew, tries to seduce the women, threatens anyone who he perceives to disrespect him, and asks endless questions about Earth and its wars. It becomes clear that Trelane has been observing the Earth through some kind of viewing device, but because light waves take a long time to travel, he is only seeing Earth as it was centuries ago. Ultimately, he challenges Kirk to a duel and then proposes to hunt the captain for sport. Just as he is about to run Kirk through with a sword, his parents show up. Trelane is actually a very young boy. The parents, whose voices are heard but not observed visually, are in and of themselves make clear that Trelane is very young and very naughty. Their exchange is both comical and typical for the age set. Trelane says, "You said I could have the planet all myself. You always stop me when I'm having fun." And his father tells him, "You're disobedient and cruel. We've told you before." And Mother interrupts, "Time to come in now, Trelane." Just stop for that one second. Time to come in now, Trelane. But I don't want to come in, and I won't. I was just playing, says Trelane. Mother responds, if you cannot take proper care of your pets, you cannot have them at all. You'll grow up, you'll understand. Trelane says, I never have any fun, and then vanishes. And you can see sort of the spotlight here gets smaller and smaller on him as his parents, who and whatever they are, take him home, wherever and whatever that is. And the mother then says to Kirk, you must forgive our child. The fault is ours for indulging him too much. He will be punished. Well, there's so much to unpack here. The crew of the Enterprise are pets, who are also asked to forgive a cruel little boy who has played with them a little too roughly. The entire episode is very serious and dangerous and threatening. When Trelane is immature and self-centered, while Trelane was immature and self-centered, there was nothing in the episode up until the intervention of the parents that indicates he's actually a child. Like Charlie Evans, he's a child with almost godlike powers. Lacking the wisdom and experience to use them wisely, he's a capricious and spoiled bully boy. The reveal of his true nature at the end of the episode places Squire of Gothos in the children are dangerous at the best of times column for Star Trek. He is a dangerous and threatening alien whose arrogance and powers make him a danger to the entire crew. And he's a boy. Lastly, we reach the season 3 episode, And the Children Shall Lead, which, cards on the table, is considered one of the worst episodes in all of Star Trek, for a number of reasons, including poor writing and the stunt casting of celebrity attorney Melvin Belly, seen here as a devious alien that leads children astray and wears a housecoat made from a shower curtain. It's unclear, but embarrassing. The Enterprise receives a distress signal from the Starnes exploration party on a colonized planet. They discover that all of the adult scientists have killed themselves, leaving only these 5 children behind. The children are completely untraumatized by their parents' deaths and seem to be happy and playful, singing Ring Around the Rosie and dancing in a circle around Kirk when first encountered. McCoy argues the trauma of witnessing their parents' death have made the children forget and therefore not sad, but when asked, they know their parents are dead and are utterly indifferent to that fact. The mystery of why the kids are not troubled cannot be solved, as there are no childhood specialists on board the Enterprise in any form. Nurse Trapple brings them to the galley and treats them to ice cream, attempting to engage them, talking about, don't you miss your parents? And the children say no. She says, parents like children, and Mary responds, that's what you think. Our first hint that the children, like the children of Miri, view Grups adversarially. The children's presence on board grows more and more disruptive. They chant busy at adults that attempt to talk to them, perhaps a sarcastic response to parents who are always busy. The episode eventually reveals that by concentrating and shaking their fists, as seen here. I told you it was one of the worst episodes. The children can hypnotize crew members into doing their bidding. The children also have a chant that they use to call the angel, the aforementioned Melvin Belly, who plays an alien called Gorgon. I told you it was not a good episode. Gorgon wants the children to control the crew in order to control the ship, so they might take it to a planet where they can take over. In this case, the children are not inherently evil. They are willingly the tools under the influence of a Machiavellian being pretending to be a friend, an angel. The parents were killed, so the children will have no attachments to anyone other than each other and Gorgon. More so than Kirk, Spock finds the children to be a threat, even if the Gorgon is one guiding them. Spock says, Captain, so long as the children are present, there is danger. They are the carriers. Kirk responds, Spock, they're not alien beings. They're children being misled. Spock, they are followers. Without followers, evil cannot spread. Kirk responds, they're children, Captain. The 430 men and women on board the Enterprise and the ship itself are endangered by these children. And even that dramatic pause before children shows that Spock does not consider the children children. They are an enemy adversary. They are, as he says, there is danger. They are danger. The crew have recognized the threat and work to discover how to defeat it. Spock sees the children themselves as a danger to the crew. Yes, Gorgon is bad, but the children are followers, spreading his evil. They are the real danger. Kirk is able to overcome and defeat Gorgon's power over the children by showing them a video of playing a game and having a picnic with their parents, followed by images of their parents' grave. I told you, it's not a good episode. Gorgon is defeated and leaves the ship. The children are then brought to the nearest starbase to be given to those who can handle them properly, help them process their grief and trauma, and deal with the fact that they are orphans now. Because again, the Enterprise ain't got nothing to do with that. They're on a 5-year mission. And yet the episode will not allow for a neat ending. After the children are gone, the bridge crew discusses the experience. Spock says evil does seek to maintain power by suppressing the truth. McCoy says, or by misleading the innocent, to which Kirk responds, misleading the innocent? I wonder. It would appear Spock's concern for the threat posed by the children has Kirk questioning how much the children were misled and how much of their innate cruelty and desire for power contributed to Gorgon's ability to lead them. Perhaps after his experiences with Charlie, Trelane, and the children with Miri have made him not trust children as wholly innocent. Then again, if a whole group of children tried to beat my head in with a hammer and a rock, I might be suspicious as well. In conclusion, not a single episode of the original series depicts children in a positive light. Instead, all manifestations of children and adolescents maintain an adversarial relationship to Grups. The best solutions the show posits are to remove problematic adolescents, and punish them, Charlie X, Squire of Gothos, or to pass them along to experts and keep them away from working professionals like the crew, as we see in Miriam and The Children Shall Lead. Children work best when they are taught to obey, know right from wrong, and follow good authority, like Kirk, and avoid bad authority, like Gorgon. Children at play are perhaps the most dangerous. It is fascinating that a series that is so progressive and future positive in so many ways considers children to be at best an inconvenience, and more likely a threat and a danger that needs to be removed, isolated, or punished. Is this residual fear of juvenile delinquents from the late 50s and early 60s? The first 3 season episodes from 1966 are from before draft riots, the buildup in Vietnam, campus protests, youth culture revolts, the summer of love. Yet there underlies in Trek a fear and distrust of the next generation. Pardon the pun. Childhood in the 23rd century is heavy because the Grups don't trust you. And if your childhood is especially heavy, as in you were orphaned and left alone by a crash when you were age 3, your only hope for the future is incorporeal aliens who will give you powers to amuse yourself, but you will never be allowed to play or be a part of human society, which is a heavy sentence at any age indeed. Thank you for your time and attention. I look forward to speaking with all of you at the actual conference. Live long and prosper.